We're going in the factory. Anything we miss, we can do an overdub.
Introduce yourself. And say who you're here with.
Hello, my name is Mark from Catrike. I'm here with Janet Morgan and Mel Berger, our wonderful RecumbentPDX mega superstore dealer on the West Coast. And we are here to show a little bit of our factory today. So follow us and let's go. So this is our 10,000 feet of production on this side. We have warehouse on the other. So we're gonna start with the whole beginning to the end of our Catrike production. All right, we're gonna go through our Catrike production, beginning to end. We do Toyota production system, lean manufacturing, just in time are the principles. We have to be as efficient as possible. After the war, the American workers were kicking the Japanese butts. We were 3 times more efficient than the Germans. The Germans were 3 times more efficient than the Japanese. So post-war, the Japanese said, we have to eliminate all the waste to get 10 times faster than we were post-war, so we could catch up to the Americans and create a system that would work for all manufacturing. So that's the Toyota way. So we're gonna start out at the beginning. So we use a lot of Japanese terms throughout our factory. This is where our orders come. Today we are making 13 Catrikes a day. This is our Heijunka board. Heijunka is a name for leveling. So we wanna make sure we don't make 2 of the same models at the same time because we share a lot of the fixtures. So we have a skip factor of 2. So every 3rd trike can be the same model. And then our production is based on our sales. Right now we have inventory getting ready for the spring. So we have a production schedule that looks at our past sales, what models, which colors are the most popular, and whatever we sell, we just replenish those to keep a good mix of everything that is our best sellers. So this is a traveler that will start beginning to end. There's a scanner on it, so it scans throughout the production system to pull parts out of our inventory. So we're making the next one will be at Orange Dumont. That's going to be one of our inventory trikes. And then when this gets to the end and the complete trike, we can scan it, put it into our inventory, or if it's for RecumbentPDX, it'll make a label, stick it on there, it'll be on the way to Portland. So everything we have is first in, first out. So if you look at our tubing here, all this tube, the first one here, should be the oldest one we have in the factory. So it's like oranges in a grocery store. You always want to sell the oldest product, and hopefully it's not rotten by the time you consume it. So that's the just-in-time part. So we get tubing in every week. That's based on our production system. This is a really cool machine. We got a vending machine from Fastenal. We were one of the first ones in Orlando to implement this. So basically this machine talks to the company. We can put in all our consumable parts, and I have a minimum and a maximum of what the consumables are. So every Tuesday, Fastenal comes out and replenishes whatever we use. So it's another pull system. We don't have to manage by ourselves. So this is how we start cutting the tubes. We have a cut list here for which model and the length that's cut. What we're gonna do is start creating a Catrike on this, we call it shop walker. So by the time this gets to the welders, all the parts will be fabricated and ready to weld. And the quality will be perfect for everything because we do all of our quality control through our production. We never make a whole product and then check it at the end for quality. So that all of our quality is built into our production system. So based on the model, the next one up is going to be a Dumont. So this is our pick list for our operators. So you can see what's going on the shop walker for a Dumont. You have 2 pulley tubes, 2 seat mounts, so you can see how many parts go on the Dumont, which is our most complex trike. If you look at the 700, it's the most minimal. So you just have basically dropouts, pulley tubes, headsets, the essentials of a space frame Catrike. So the operator will start picking these parts. We need to get a shop walker that's half full. Brandon. Can you make start a Dumont on a shop walker with all of the tubes straight? You want to talk about the tablet?
Sure.
So here at Catrike, we don't have any managers through the production system. So everything's autonomous. Every operator has the tools they need to do their job every day. So what we created is a production tablet for each individual. So what we do is we identify the steps that it takes to make a Catrike, and then we time how much time each of the steps take to make. We pad the time by another 15%, so everybody's at a nice casual pace that they can keep the quality high and they're not stressed out to make their production goals every day. So Brandon is our first operator. He is making, I guess he just made a trail. He has 32 minutes to do it. He just did it in 34 minutes and 44 seconds, which is okay. But it says all the steps that he has to do his part of the, he's the first fabricator. And then his first task that he has to do is pick the tubes, cut the tubes, and it shows everything he has to do within the 32 minutes that he has to do it. And then it records, when he hits complete, it records what his models were and what his time was throughout the day. So we can look at if an operator has been overworked or underworked, that we can maybe give more work before him or after him to balance the line. This is our hinge. So the Dumont has a hinge, so we'll pick these. We buy them at a little bit of a loose tolerance, so it's not over processed, so we can keep the cost down. Prototyping and making them in-house, we know how much time the machine shop's gonna take to make, so we can design a part that's really easy for them to make. And then we have them, the precision's a little loose on the bore for the hinge, and we have this reamer that we built in-house here that will ream the hole for the hinge at a precision level that makes sure our quality is super high. So now we've picked all the parts that it takes to build a Catrike. So this is a Dumont we're building. This has all the tubes. There's 4 different tube diameters and all the CNC parts that it takes to make a Catrike, including the gussets. So we have the hinge, the dropouts, all the shock mounts, everything that you need to make a Dumont. So this is going to be passed downstream. We are going to bend these tubes and fabricate them, and they'll eventually go to the welders that'll be ready to weld to complete the frame. All right, we are at the first bending station for the Dumont. We're going to do the main frame, and there's 2 bends in the main frame. So Brandon is using our Soco bender. This is a numeric controlled bender with a mandrel. So Brandon has to set the stops for the bend. So he's got 2 different stops for the Dumont, and he's going to put 2 bends into the main frame. Yeah, the mandrel is a ball that follows the bend on the inside of the frame to keep the frame from collapsing. So it looks nice and smooth so it doesn't look like a muffler on your car. All right, so now we have our 2 bends. The operator is going to clean the lubrication off the trike. It cleans the tube with acetone to keep the impurities off the trike. After every bend, we measure the bend to make sure it's in tolerance. So again, we're building our quality control into our processes, part of the Cat Way, eliminating as much waste as possible. So he's measuring the 2 angles. And then he's got a chart up above that says the pass-fail range. And obviously we're within the passing range. And then he records the what the bends were, to make sure nothing is changing throughout the production as we go on. If we do bend something bad, we can get the engineers involved, or Brandon's very skilled that he can adjust the machine or change something that makes it more accurate. Now we're going to put the serial number and our logo into the mainframe. So this is a Meco.Peen machine. So it's going to engrave. The serial number and our logo. It is very loud, so we're going to close the door and we're going to run this thing. And then we'll... It's a Japanese motorcycle. So now we have our serial number and our logo, and we're going to show that to you. So it looks like we are on 57,111 Catrikes made. Woohoo! Now we are moving on to our next process. We have everything in a series to eliminate movement in our waste. So it's part of the MUDA of eliminating waste in Toyota production system. So this is one of the first automated machines we made at Catrike. So it's the slot on the mainframe that allows the boom to adjust in and out. And there's also a notch on top of the frame where the notch goes for our piece boom to keep it vertical all the time. So it's just a PLC with a couple air motors to do the slotting, the machining, and then an electric motor to push the milling bit throughout the process. It was our first automated machine that we made in Catrike. Part of the Toyota production system is automation with a human touch. So there are some things that machines aren't good at, so the human touch always keeps the quality high, the efficiency high, eliminate waste, and make sure we don't have any mistakes or defects. So this is a tapered bit. So at the end of the slot, it's gonna plunge forward and gonna make like an oversized drill hole. That keeps the frame from cracking. So we're gonna see this, and the motor in the back's gonna start up here too. That's gonna do the notch, so we're gonna be two machining operations at the same time. There we go. Now it's going to plunge forward for the relief drilling. Operation complete. Now the automated machine is returning back to the home position. And then we can remove the frame when it gets back to the home position, and we can show you the machining that we did. That's the slot with the leaf drilling, and then the notch on the top for our piece boom indexing notch to keep our boom vertical. So Brandon's going to use our CNC machine. This is a 1-inch tube. We're going to do our ergo seat back. It's going to have 8 bends in about a 1 meter piece. True CNC machine is accurate to 0.1 degree. So this is also has a mandrel. He's going to select a program. We have loaded up the program in there with the 8 bends. There's 2 different dies, so some of the bends are going to have a different radius. So we have 2 of the tubes that are the bottom of the seat that he's bending first. The program has the sequence of the tubes that he bends, so he doesn't have to load a separate program for the Dumont. Now we are moving on to the ergo seat. This one will have 8 bends in it. It has to be very accurate so both sides are parallel. Also, when you bend a tube, let's say you bend a tube 90 degrees, it's gonna spring back 1 or 2 degrees. So we have to overcompensate for the spring back of the tube. As our tubing ages, it gets more brittle. So the spring back is more extreme. You can see the stack die, now it's on the smaller radius, bending the top of the tube, and then it's gonna go back to the bigger diameter radius for the ergo bend on your lumbar support. That's the recurve of the top of the seat. And then this is a lumbar support bend. All right, now he's putting it on his measuring fixture, using a protractor, measuring the angles to make sure everything is copacetic. All the tubes are parallel. He's gonna document his work. How's it going, Paulo?
Hi, Paulo.
Hello, I'm Mark. See you later.
Wait.
We're business partners.
Do you like him?
Yeah, a lot. I love Mark. He does all this stuff that I don't have to do, you know? And does really well, better than I would, so I love him.
Thank you, Paulo. You cannot step on that mat. We have 100,000 cycles. You just use 2 of them. So that kills the machine. Safety is part of the Cat way for sure. Our CNC bender here has a safety mat to make sure all of our operators are safe. So this mat with all the black and yellow tape, make sure you do not step in that area while the bender is in motion. So that mat, if you step on it, it'll kill the machine. So the only time you can step on it when the CNC bender is not moving. Yeah, which one of these do not look like the other? We have 2 fixtures left. Those were our Expeditions. Our 3rd model that we ever made. And they're so good, we've never had to change them.
So I was checking out the new things for the Macs.
Yep. Yeah, every fixture our engineering department makes, they learn things from the last one, so they can make it easier for the operators, higher quality, more robust so it doesn't have to be adjusted. So let's have Brandon do some coping of the tubes. All right, that's a seat brace, the last of the Dumont bends. We drill holes in all of our tubings for ventilation for the welding. If you don't have vent holes, then the welds will keep blowing out. So we put them in a spot that does not stress the tube. So this is one of our notching fixtures. It looks like we are doing a chainstay for a trail. So he is making the notches. So this notching fixture is pretty sophisticated, so it has a lot of different steps in the procedure. So one fixture, we're drilling holes for the bumper to guard the derailleur. We have a production sheet on every one of our processes through the factory, so we can cross-train new operators. And then if anything changes in the process, we'll change the production sheet. These machines are, notching fixtures are very robust, very repeatable. Thanks, Brandon. So here we have, this is where the trade-off from our first fabricator to our second. So all the tubes have been notched and bent. And our next operator is going to clean all the tubes up, take care of the deburrs, Scotch-Brite everything, where the welds go. So we have a very clean welding surface with no impurities. What's up, Brian? We're gonna film you. He has 18 minutes to do his production work for the trail that he's doing now. Just do like normal. Pretend we're not here. There's no pressure. So you have to clean these up first, right? Okay. So now all of our tubes have been notched. Brian, our fabricator number 2, is gonna clean everything up with the Scotch-Brite machine. This is also a downdraft table that sucks air downward into a bath of water to collect all the aluminum dust. So it keeps the factory very clean. Janet, meet Mr. Deburring. Hello, Mr. Deburring. This is a vibratory finisher. We're gonna drop a bunch of tubes in there, take all the oxidation off the surface of the tube. Uh, 15 minutes. Yeah, so now he's putting all the tubes into the deburr. So it's gonna take the oxidation off of the surface of the tube and then finish deburring everything. He's just cleaning up all the rough edges. So we have a timer on Mr. Deburring. It's 15 minutes, so he starts the timer. And that's a sufficient amount of time to do all the tasks that we needed to do. Looking really good. So here's a before and after of the deburr. So this is after the hole saw coping process, and after Mr. Deburring, all the tubes are clean and it's hands off. The machine does all the work. Now this is Adrian. Adrian's doing a Max seat back. So this is a welding fixture for the seat back for the Max. So all of our fixtures are on a carousel, so the welders can access all the areas they need to apply their weld. Yeah, you can stand here like this and just cover it, and you can go all the way around. Eli's throwing down some flames. How's it going, Maurice? You're on candid camera. So we'll get back to powder coating later today. It looks like a Max. It's got a chrome base, so it's going to be purple or green. One purple, one green coming up. We have several double coats in our lineup. The purple has a chrome base and the green has a chrome base. So looks like he's got a Dumont and a Max and a Trail and a Villager that he's going to be powder coating later today. So that's it. Factory shut down for lunchtime. Scoreboard on the wall turns red. Everybody has to stop working. Turns yellow 2 minutes before their shift starts and green when they're in production.